Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Mohawks Podcast Network. Two of your team broadcasters here, Ethan, Frank, Matt, Zumbolo with you. And today it's going to be a This Week in Review on the Mohawks' first off day of the season. We're going to look back at the past week when the Mohawks went 4-2. But first, Matt, how are you doing on this lovely Wednesday afternoon?
Pretty good. A little rainy here. A little sun right now, it seems like, looking outside. But rain. So lucky on the off day, actually, to get a little rain today. And not tomorrow or yesterday. Got a little bit yesterday, but enough that we could play right through it. But
exactly.
Good. How about you?
I'm doing well. Sorry if you hear a little disturbance in the background, but I think everything is going well here. So let's get right into it. The Mohawks, they opened their season with a win last Friday night at home against the Albany Dutchmen en route to a 4-2 week. So looking back at that first game, opening night with fans back at Shuttleworth Park at Ralph Family Stadium, Matt, what were your first impressions of the 2021 season?
Well, first night on Friday was a little bit of a slow start, to say the least. 2-1 victory for the Mohawks. Pitching was good. Bats were not there, which was something we expected early, was the bats, and we didn't see it on Friday night. We saw pitching instead. Good pitching throughout the whole game on both sides. Only those 2 runs, the one on the big home run from Carter Frederick, which if you were listening to any of our broadcasts this week, the extra hitter, Carter Frederick was the extra hitter for a little while. We loved the extra hitter. Talked about it every single time it came up, how much we loved it. So the Mohawks, they came out hot, though, with a big victory.
Yeah, only 3 hits on the night for the Mohawks offense on Friday night.
Kind of stagnant offense. And wasn't really – I kind of expected a little more offense to open up. But we did see that offense, and we'll obviously get into that in a little bit as we continue moving on from the season.
But yeah, I as the first time here in Amsterdam, it was unbelievable to see the atmosphere. Perfect weather, albeit a little bit hot. It made everyone a little sweaty. But it was just unbelievable to see how passionate the fans here in Amsterdam are about their Mohawks. And that brings us to Saturday night, which was not as much fun of a game when the Mohawks won 18-7 over the Glens Falls Dragons back at Ralph Family Stadium. And it was a first-inning barrage of runs, Matt.
Yeah, 7 runs in the first inning. Kind of got boring for us on the broadcast side because we kind of said a lot of the things we had to say early on. So we kind of – Saturday night we got into a lot of fun little topics throughout the broadcast. But like you said, big change with the bats out of nowhere, sort of comparatively to Friday night. Saturday night, just explosion of offense, runs all over the place, 18 in total. And it's not like the Mohawks were just taking walks and getting around the bases. They were hitting. They were driving the ball into the gaps, base hits up the middle. Very successful day.
Exactly. Brett Young had a 2-run homer and a 7-run first inning for the Mohawks, as everyone who came to bat for the Mohawks had 5 plate appearances.
So that's just crazy to hear in a 9-inning game, even no matter what. So put on 18 runs, that's what you're going to get, however.
Exactly. So let's move ahead to Sunday night when the Mohawks hit the road for the first time this season, Matt, to take on the Socrates Stallions. I was there. You were not. But it was an interesting game, one of the closer games we've seen through this first week, back and forth, as I guess that's something we'll be seeing from Socrates often, as that's a team we'll be playing a lot of games against. But it was the Mohawks that got on the board first. It was a 2-out rally in the top of the second inning that scored 3 runs. The bottom half of the lineup really did a lot of damage for the Mohawks.
Yeah, and that's something we've seen all year. Like we'll touch upon it a little later, but hitters like Stone Meow been very productive from the bottom of the lineup, as well as other guys like Slate Alford, who's put up some good at-bats.
Yeah, he's got 7 RBIs already this year.
So bottom of the order, about 6 or 7 all the way down the rest of the way, has been productive in almost every game for the Mohawks so far this year.
Yeah, and we did see a little bit of foreshadowing as the Mohawks were ahead 5-0, but then the bullpen came in after a great start by Connor Bovair. We'll touch on that a little bit later. But Von Baker and Ben Adams combined to let up 5 earned runs in that bottom of the 5th inning to tie the game. So we get to the top of the 6th, and the Mohawks are able to take the lead right back, and Jake Reinisch, the hero, with a 2 RBI single in that top of the 6th inning.
Yeah, Reinisch,
you know what position he was playing?
The extra hitter.
And
Reinisch is another guy who really can get his bat alive out of that lefty batter's box. He's going to be a huge piece for the Mohawks going the rest of the way.
And that was the first time we got to see the closer, Brian Yetter, on the season. A wonderful appearance in the ninth inning, 2 strikeouts on a lineout, able to end that game and close down the Mohawks' first road victory of the year. So moving along, let's head up to Monday, just 2 days ago, where we got our first doubleheader, 7-inning doubleheader of the season. Matt, I know we were both there. We had an interesting vantage point of where we were sitting at that game.
Yeah.
Why don't you tell everyone what that was like?
So we kind of we get to Mohawk Valley, Veterans Memorial Park, and we get positioned right next to the Mohawks dugout. And we were next to a light pole, like for the field lights, obviously, and set up on 2 folding chairs for all of our equipment. And then the 2 of us had folding chair apiece as well. So it was very interesting. However, we could see the plate very well. We had very good view of the field from where we were. And we were also right next to the Mohawks dugout. So we got a little bit of insight from them. Next trainer, Carla Pasquarelli, for a lot of the game.
Yeah, she was our meteorologist for the game because we were a little worried about the rain coming in.
But hey, she told us no. She told us we didn't have to worry. She was right in the end. No rain on Monday night, excuse me. But an interesting doubleheader for the Mohawks. Kind of a tale of 2 halves, I think, is one of the best ways I can put it.
I think I agree.
First game, they break out, win 12-1, I believe. I'm right there.
That's correct.
12-1 victory in game 1. That's where we're just through the roof. Brett Coker, his only home run of the year so far, 3-run shot. And the Mohawks just tacked on runs. Pitching was good throughout the whole game, but then second game, things started to switch her up a little bit.
Yeah, it was the bullpen. You got a good start from Shane Harris, who went 3 innings, struck out 4, no runs allowed. But then the bullpen came in. It was Ben Adams again, along with Ian Cook, who suffered the defeat, gave up 6 runs in the bottom of the 4th inning, and the Mohawks fell. But they took another early lead, 5-0, 3 in the first, 2 in the second, but fell behind again, 6-5 because of that bullpen. Matt Gonzalez with 2 strong innings to keep it a 1-run game, but the Mohawks offense they were putting bat to ball, just could not get the timely hits to fall, as a wonderful, wonderful pitching performance by John Archer of the Diamond Dogs. 4 2/3 perfect innings to close out that game.
Yeah, Archer was phenomenal for the Diamond Dogs. Really shut down the Mohawks offense, but at the same time, he obviously shut them down. But the Mohawks were hitting the ball hard. Towards the end of the game, smoking the ball to the outfield. I believe 3 of the last 4 outs of the game were very hard hit fly balls to the outfield.
Yeah, and it's a big ballpark as well, 380 to the corners in left and right field respectively. So very unlike the dimensions of Ralph Family Stadium.
Yeah, absolutely. Where a lot of the balls that were hit on Monday night would have went out on the Mohawks home field. Not going to be able to get those at Veterans Memorial Park.
And let's move ahead to last night, the Mohawks' final game. They're 4-1 at this point. They get a big first-inning home run from Kai Roberts, the big left-hander from Utah, and he showcased the power to the opposite field the last 2 days.
Yeah, so we've been waiting for Kai Roberts. Like you said, the last 2 days, more specifically, jumping back really quickly, something we both kind of forgot to mention. His first game of the Monday's doubleheader at Little Falls, Roberts with 3 opposite field hits, putting that Mohawks offense into motion, getting things going, helping score those 12 runs in the first game. Then last night, the big home run the opposite way, right over the left field fence. I honestly almost didn't think it was going to get out, but it just carried. Got out, 2-0 start for the Mohawks.
Yeah, 2-0 start, and the Mohawks went on to expand their lead. But once again, a catastrophic appearance from the Mohawks bullpen. This time it was Vaughn Baker again, along with Nick Smith, who combined to let in a few runs from the Mohawks bullpen, and they just couldn't. They tried to recover. They did. I believe they went down 3-2. They were ahead 2-0. They went down 3-2. They were able to tie the game on a Brett Coker RBI double in the 6th inning. Then they go down 5-3 in the 7th once Baker came in. Then they get 1 run back in the 7th, another run back in the 8th on a dropped fly ball, an error from the center fielder Josh Stevenson of the Stallions. And we're tied heading to the bottom of the 9th, looking for the Mohawks' first walk-off win of the season.
Yeah, I was excited. I was really hoping we got that. It would have been an electric factory in there, but Mohawks not able to scratch one across in the bottom half of the 9th. Moving to the top of the 10th now. We spoke with Brian Yetter, who was in trying to hold this game down after the game, about the runner on second rule
which I was very critical of on our broadcast last night.
Yeah, absolutely. And it makes sense as to why. And we spoke to Brian Yetter, like I said, and Yetter thought the same thing. He was telling us after the game that he really wasn't in the groove because of it. Like he felt great in the ninth inning when he was out there, but then came back out in the 10th and just didn't have it the same because there's already a runner on second and there's nothing he could do about it. No matter how well he pitched, he had an automatic runner on second that he didn't even get on there or let get on there, excuse me.
Exactly. I couldn't agree with him more, and I couldn't agree with you more. It's just, it's a little demoralizing. It's he lets that run and he hangs a curveball double, but it's an unearned run. You get a guy to roll over a ball, he advances to third base, and you automatically have a runner on third with less than 2 outs. So anything to the outfield is going to get him in on a sacrifice fly. So it's just demoralizing for the pitcher. And while yes, the Mohawks do have the same, advantage in the bottom half, once you already go down by 3 runs, it kind of kills your spirit.
Yeah, I know that first run came around to score, but that double from the cleanup hitter, Kip Fergo,
Yep,
of the Stallions, he really, really brought down everything, and it's really hard to come back from that. The Mohawks tried in the bottom half, had Jake Reines was the runner on second, Keith Jones again, who was one of the guys on Monday night who hit a rocket fly ball that was just caught. Nothing really could have came of that. Monday night, he did it again on Tuesday night, which Mohawks really can't do much about that.
Yeah, nothing you could do about that. So the Mohawks fall to 4-2. So that's your weekly recap. But why don't we get into some segments, Matt? And let's start with your hitter, your hitter of the week.
I appreciate you giving me kind of the easy one. And I know that must have been a little tough for you because it's really not even a question who the hitter of the week is this week for the Mohawks. My pick, Brett Coker, hit in the 2 spot and the 3 spot throughout the week. Hit for a .524 average with 2 doubles, a homer, and 9 RBIs. That comes together to a .762 slugging percentage and a 1.322 OPS. An unbelievable start for Coker. He's been a spark plug the whole way so far for the Mohawks.
And for me, it's got to be Kai Roberts. This guy's hitting .333 on the year, 3 doubles, a home run, 5 RBIs. His OPS also over 1,036. So really impressive stuff from those 2 guys right there. And as we continue to move along, Matt, who's your pitcher of the week?
I have to go with the guy who found his first and only appearance of the year so far on Monday night in Little Falls, Cooper Barnum. 2 perfect innings, 4 strikeouts against the Diamond Dogs. He was lights out for the Mohawks.
And for me, it's going to be Connor Bovair, who got the start against Saugerties on Sunday night. 4 innings, 2 hits, 4 strikeouts, no walks, no runs. Really, really impressive stuff from the right-hander. And this Mohawks team, a lot of right-handed pitching. So let's stay on that pitching front, Matt. We've seen a lot of success from the guys starting the game, but we've had some struggles from the bullpen. What do you think needs to change in the bullpen?
It really seemed like the bullpen is almost trying to do a little too much here and there so far this season. Honestly, might just need to relax a little bit. They're kind of all over the zone. The biggest issues has been the control. They're kind of all over the place, here and there, left, right, down. A lot of balls in the dirt, really making the catchers Jackson Finney and Danny Moshier work. Really tough to put that kind of stress onto your catchers. And obviously, you're giving up a lot of free passes, handful of hit-by pitches, lots of walks. Those are going to turn into runs, and that's why the Mohawks have lost 2 games already. The offense has been potent enough to win the first few, despite very below-average pitching from the bullpen. Mohawks really need to pick it up, settle in on the mound if you're the bullpen, lock in for the next few games the rest of this week.
Yeah, we've spent a good amount of time talking with pitching coach Zach Breen about what he's seen from his staff and his arms so far this season. And I think it's really just about getting comfortable. You're in a new situation, a new place. You've never been here before. A lot of these guys have never been here before. So just making sure you're comfortable where you're at with your mechanics and working through any mechanical or, strategical changes you need to make is key for these Mohawk pitchers as they try to, get out of this funk that they're in with this 2-game losing streak. So one last segment before we make some predictions. What is the best thing you saw this week, Matt, in Mohawks baseball?
It's got to be from the small guy, but the big hitter with a bigger heart, Stone Meow, like a cat, 5 RBIs on Saturday night against the Glens Falls Dragons. He was electric. 3 for 3 game, 2 walks, 5 RBIs, hit a rope double down the line, a deep fly ball off the wall that I think he and everybody else in the stadium thought was getting out. Only held to a single, but a huge game for Meow, and really Mohawks were on the back of him all night. The majority of the RBIs went to Meow.
Exactly. And we did a little interview with Stone after the game. Wanted to get his thoughts after his big night, and we wanted to make sure we were pronouncing his name correctly. And just like Matt said, we said, Stone, how do you pronounce your last name? He goes, quote, just like a cat.
and then after he told us that, now I'm hearing him tell everybody else who's asking him. So he's got a few other people.
I mean, it's pretty simple.
It is. It makes it way easy for us.
So the best thing I saw this week has to be Brett Coker's game-winning RBI double, bottom of the 6th inning on Friday night to get the Mohawks their very first win of the season. Opening night, it's always the most special for everyone, especially when it's the return of fans after such a tough year plus for everyone dealing with the COVID-19 pandemic. Getting back to the ballpark and experiencing Mohawks baseball is what everyone needs this time of year. And Matt, as a local, you can speak to that.
Yeah, absolutely. Mohawks baseball, obviously, as you all know, is just such an important thing for this area. And have it back, the stadium has been electric so far. It helps our broadcast a lot because the energy's there for them, for everybody else in the stands. It puts it there for us while we're making these calls. So it's great to see everybody back. Festivities are back pregame, during, in between innings. Little leaguers back out on the field before games. It's just things you love to see, really. And what Amsterdam is and what the Mohawks mean to Amsterdam is finally back.
So let's get into some predictions. The Mohawks have 5 games before their next off day on Monday. They host the Utica Blue Sox tomorrow before hosting the Oneonta Outlaws on Friday night. Then on Saturday, they've got a doubleheader in Albany against the Dutchmen, and Sunday night they are in Glens Falls to take on the Dragons. So Matt, what matchup are you looking forward to this week, and what do you think the Mohawks' record is going to be after these next 5 games?
I think the number one matchup we're going to see is going to be the Utica Blue Sox tomorrow night as they come to town. 4-0 already. For us, another Syracuse student, their broadcaster, our good friend Joe Puccio. So we've talked to him a little about how they're doing, and I think the Mohawks are going to have a big challenge. They dropped their last 2. Beating a 4-0 team to break out of a 2-game losing streak is going to be a big way to do it. I think they're going to be able to pull it out. I think the bullpen's going to lock in. Zach Breen knows what he's got to do with his pitching. I think he's going to be able to settle them down and get them to pitch well the way they need to. So I expect a win there from Utica, a win against Oneonta on Friday. I'm going to guess a split doubleheader with the Dutchmen on Saturday. They beat the Dutchmen on Friday 2-1, so I think a split is probably a good assumption for the doubleheader. Mohawks could come out firing on offense, win them both, but I'm going to call a split there, and then I'm going to call a victory to Glens Falls when they visit them on Sunday, putting the record at, let me make sure I do my math right before
So that would be a 4-1 week.
4-1 record, out of 5 games.
I think I'm going to go with a 3-2 record this week. I think they're going to fall to the Blue Sox tomorrow, win against Oneonta, win both games of the doubleheader on Saturday, and fall to the Dragons on Sunday night. So there are our predictions. And Matt, who is one player, I'm going to put you on the spot here, who is a one player for you to watch over these next 5 games? Who do you have your eye on?
I think I'm going to have to stick with my hitter of the week and say Brett Coker. Can Coker keep at a pace anything like he's been at so far? Obviously, as I said, 524 average so far this season. Can Coker do anything like he is doing for the rest of the week, the rest of the season? If he can, that's going to be huge for the Mohawks, and there's really no stepping back from that. I expect a big week from him. Even if not as big as the past week, still a big enough week to where he can make a huge impact for the Mohawks.
Yeah, and I've got my eye on this week. It's going to be on Brett Young, who's been batting leadoff. He struggled a little bit of late, but had that RBI single in his last at-bat last night. He did have 2 hits and 5 at-bats on the night. Everybody will take 2 hits and 5 at-bats. So let's see what he does this next week. If he stays in that leadoff role, he's played a great center field so far. He's thrown out a runner at the plate already this week. So let's see what he has in store as a local product from Siena College. I think Brett Young is someone to watch over these next 5 games.
Absolutely. I expect a big week. I expect a big week from Young as well, bouncing back from a few tough days. And like you said, that throw, something we didn't touch on earlier, a laser beam strike to the catcher, Jackson Finney.
Yeah, the pair of Bretts are our players to watch this week. Coach Griffin's favorite phrase when he's standing at third base, "Come on, Brett," to both Young and Coker. So, barring any last words from you, Matt, I think that wraps up episode 1 on the Mohawks Podcast Network.
Yeah, I think that's all I've got, really. Thank you for everybody for tuning into our broadcasts before we do head out. It's been a great time for us, and I hope everybody's enjoying what we're producing on there, as well as our other content that we're trying to put out on the Mohawks social media pages. And we hope that this Mohawks Podcast Network can really become something that we do often, maybe be able to get a few other things mixed in with it to have some content for you guys all the time.
Yep. So thank you once again for listening to This Week in Amsterdam Baseball, this week's weekly recap on the Mohawks Podcast Network. For Matt Zumbolo, I'm Ethan Frank signing off, and we'll see you next week. And we'll see you tomorrow night on Facebook Live. But for more podcasting, we'll see you next week. So have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you on Facebook tomorrow night.